We need to build a wall, and it has to be built quickly.
Good morning. It is 9:06 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. Hey, how are you? Show's brought to you by our friends at Better Water LLC. You can listen to the show anywhere. iHeartRadio, tune in the FM dial. You can also listen on the WTN app or the FM dial. We're also able to be watched. Super Talk TV up and running. Facebook, Twitter, Twitch. The big ones, though, YouTube and Rumble. Hit the subscribe button. Help us out. It does help the radio station big time if we grow that digital footprint, so we appreciate you in advance. Hope you and your family had a wonderful Easter weekend. I hope it was everything that you expected it to be, and that it was filled with a lot of joy and a lot of happiness and a lot of Jesus. We had an awesome weekend. My 8-year-old got baptized on Saturday night, which was just the absolute highlight, the peak of the weekend. And we're very proud of young Brooks. My 3-year-old turned 4. We were just going nonstop all weekend. Every single night, the kids were absolutely exhausted. And that's a huge win when you have 4 little kids and you're doing Easter weekend. So we had a blast. We had a blast. And then as I was checking back in yesterday, because I try to stay away from the news as best I can. I work a lot. I'm always staring at my phone. That's kind of the nature of the beast. And so I try to put the phone away on the weekends. But as I checked back in late last night, I'm seeing a lot of things that are pretty cool, man. I saw a huge Easter celebration in Times Square. I know. I was shocked about that as well. I mean, I said to myself, is this Easter or is this Islam? And no, it was Easter. And we had thousands of people filling Times Square for Easter worship. I thought that was a big deal. And then one of the other things that really struck me was there was an Easter message in outer space. Yes. Yep. I don't know if this has ever happened before. Victor Glover, excuse me. Victor Glover is an astronaut aboard the Artemis II. And he's also the same guy who struck down the race baiting question by reporters when they're like, hey, you're an astronaut and you're black. Tell us about that. And he's like, this is about humanity. It's not about race. So the guy, I mean, super based, but he actually had a message for Easter from outer space. And I don't know if this has ever happened before.
I'm glad you brought that up, though. I think these observances are important. And as we are so far from Earth and looking back at, the beauty of creation, I think for me, one of the really important personal perspectives that I have up here is I can really see Earth as one thing. And, when I read the Bible and I look at all of the amazing things that were done for us who were created, it's, you have this amazing place, this spaceship. You guys are talking to us because we're in a spaceship really far from Earth, but you're on a spaceship called Earth that was created to give us a place to live in the universe, in the cosmos. I think maybe the distance we are from you makes you think what we're doing is special, but we're the same distance from you, and I'm trying to tell you, just trust me, you are special. In all of this emptiness, this is a whole bunch of nothing, this thing we call the universe. You have this oasis, this beautiful place that we get to exist together. I think as we go into Easter Sunday, thinking about, all the cultures all around the world, whether you celebrate it or not, whether you believe in God or not, this is an opportunity for us to remember where we are, who we are, and that we are the same thing and that we got to get through this together.
I mean, I just thought that was cool. I do. I think it's an amazing thing when we have astronauts in outer space reading the Bible. I mean, what? It's awesome. It's unbelievable.
Did you also see that the female was who's on the crew? I don't know her name. Was nodding in agreement, and then one of the other guys who's on the spaceship with them put his hand out and shook his hand.
Yes.
After. I just felt like, oh my goodness, there's belief, and it's up there on that rocket ship. You know, it was beautiful.
Well,
it was a beautiful moment.
You have to imagine that has got to be a humbling experience.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I don't know if you know this. I've never been to space. But I would imagine it's awe-inspiring.
Yeah.
And you must have this moment where you're just like, yeah, this isn't randomly done by accident. It can't be. So I just thought that was cool. It was one of the first things that popped out as I kind of plugged back in over the weekend. And I was grateful to see that. I was also grateful to see the administration once again saying the name of Jesus Christ and acknowledging the Christian holiday, acknowledging that we are a Christian nation. This is how we were founded. Marco Rubio posted this over the weekend on Easter morning.
We were all created, every single one of us, before the beginning of time, by the hands of the God of the universe, an all-powerful God, who loved us and created us for the purpose of living with him in eternity. But then sin entered the world and separated us from our Creator. And so God took on the form of a man and came down and lived among us. And he suffered like men. And he died like a man. But on the third day he rose unlike any mortal man. And to prove any doubters wrong, he ate with his disciples so they could see, and they touched his wounds. He didn't rise as a ghost or as a spirit, but as flesh. And then he rose to the heaven, but he promised he would return, and he will. And when he returns, because he took on that death, because he carried that cross, we were freed from the sin that separated us from him. And when he returns, there will be a new heaven and a new earth, and we will all be together, and we are going to have a great reunion there again.
So Rubio posted that over the weekend. It ends with a just 3 words. He is risen. The speech that you heard Rubio doing there was from the Charlie Kirk Memorial. It gave me goosebumps when I heard it live. It gave me goosebumps when I heard it on Easter morning. I do love the fact this administration puts their faith first. I'm a huge fan of that. I think that is something that's going to change this nation. I don't think a lot of our problems are political. I think most of our problems are spiritual, and I think that leaning into the spiritual side of things will help. And it looks like this administration is going to do that. Many Democrats had their Easter weekend ruined. They found out that an American hero was lost in Iran. And I do believe that many Democrats wanted the imagery of this weapons systems officer behind enemy lines, captured, holding up a newspaper, tied up in a chair, surrounded by the IRGC. I think they wanted that. So that way they could point at Donald Trump and say, look at what you did. Look at this. This is your fault, Mr. President. And I believe that a lot of them, even if they didn't say it out loud, they were secretly rooting for this weapons systems officer to be captured over the weekend because they wanted it. They wanted to be able to see, look what you did. It didn't happen. And many Democrats must have had their Easter ruined because that American hero was saved in Iran. And he was saved because President Trump is President Trump. The Iranians wanted a hostage on TV. The Democrats wanted a hostage on TV. They all wanted to be able to point their collective fingers at President Trump. It's not going to happen. Just to recap the timeline of events on this epic rescue, April 3rd, early Friday, overnight, early morning, local time, U.S. Air Force F-15, 2-seat multi-role fighter from the 48th Fighter Wing, the 449th Fighter Squadron based at RAF Lakenheath, was shot down by Iranian forces over southwestern Iran. Both the pilot and the weapons system officer ejected safely. Wreckage photos circulated on social media. The Iranians quickly ran to the crash site, and they were posting photos on social media. And they were like, look, it's a human skull in the wreckage. And no, sir, that's just mechanical parts. It's not a human skull. But same day, within about 7 hours, the pilot was rescued by U.S. combat search and rescue teams using helicopters. The helicopters took Iranian ground fire during the extraction. Some crew were wounded, but the pilot was recovered safely. And no reporting that I've seen thus far on the extent of the injuries, except for the fact that they're all doing well and recovering. Then April 3rd, during the overall rescue efforts, a supporting A-10 Warthog was hit by Iranian fire near the Strait of Hormuz, Persian Gulf area. That pilot ejected safely and was rescued separately. No fatalities. Then we went about 48 hours while this weapons systems officer, this colonel, evaded capture using seer tactics. And he moved away from the crash site. He hikes into the mountains, and he hid in a crevice on a high ridge at about 7,000 feet up and activated his emergency beacon. Iranian forces were hunting him the entire weekend while the U.S. ran a massive operation involving hundreds of personnel, dozens of aircraft, special operations, including SEAL Team 6, air support that suppressed Iranian convoys, and they had a deception campaign, which we'll get into. And then early on Easter morning, as the president put it, it was an Easter miracle, and that WSO, that weapons systems officer, was successfully rescued in a high-risk special operations mission deep inside Iran. He sustained injuries from his ejection, but he was stable. The president announced on True Social Easter morning, "We got him," calling it one of the most daring rescues in U.S. history. No U.S. personnel were killed or lost in any of the operations. This is an unbelievable story, and it is the lead story this morning. Again, all three airmen are safe and accounted for. The F-15 pilot, the weapons systems officer, the colonel there, and the A-10 pilot. The injured WSO, the weapons systems officer, the one that was rescued on Easter Sunday, was flown to a U.S. military hospital in Kuwait for treatment. Both of the crew members, all of them are out of Iran. They're recovering. The rescues, they say, highlighted U.S. air dominance and the leave no one behind ethos that is alive and well under the commander-in-chief, President Trump. News Nation said, this is America at its best. And you're absolutely right. What was his name? Leland Vittert on News Nation. News Nation doesn't really lean left. It doesn't really lean right. It's kind of down the middle-ish, depending on which show you're listening to. Some lean more right, some lean more left. But on News Nation, he said, this is America at its very best, and he is absolutely right.
I'm going to tell you something that you won't hear anywhere else on television tonight. This is America at its very best.
Amen.
Air crews go into battle deep over enemy territory, knowing that if they get shot down, the entire U.S. military will stop at nothing to rescue them. Iranian state TV has been showing this video all day, purportedly showing rescue teams here, one of the helicopters taking fire from Iranian police trying to shoot with rifles. So hundreds of men and women right now are knowingly put themselves in extreme danger. There are continued low-level flights over known enemy air defenses to bring back a single downed comrade.
And they got him back. Unbelievable. And this should be a boost for all the morale of the troops in the area. If something happens to you, you're not on your own. This isn't the Joe Biden administration. We're going to come and get you. And that was on full display. So kudos to them. A bunch of heroes. Look for the heroes. I mean, they were out in full force on Easter weekend. President Trump today is going to be holding a press conference in the White House briefing room at 1 o'clock Eastern. So that's 12 o'clock our time. If it starts any earlier than that, we will cover it for you here live because I want to hear what he says, as I'm sure you want to hear as well. President Trump, they say, is going to be storming the White House briefing room for a hands-on Iranian briefing with members of the media. Fox News was talking about it just a little while ago.
We're about his role in authorizing the multifaceted operation to get both of these airmen out. Of course, the second being more complex. The president tipping his hat to everybody involved, the quick thinking of his commanders. But he was involved in every level of this. I mean, from the CIA information plan that they have to put out that misinformation about the second airman being taken out by vehicle when, in fact, he was still there, to the hardware being destroyed so that it would not fall into the hands of the Iranians. So we're going to hear more from the president today at 1 p.m. This is going to be held in the briefing room because of all of the interest from the media, so many questions that many have. It would surprise you how many people can fit inside that smallish room when the president is at the podium, but that is what we are going to see this afternoon. So looking back at last week, it looks like Wednesday evening was the last time that we had seen the president speak publicly. He had those public remarks, and also on Truth Social this weekend, if you look, I mean, he was unusually quiet. All of that strategic silence in order to protect this mission at hand, what began late last week, is Iran feeling like they have achieved something in shooting down that U.S. jet. That feeling for them has been reduced to disgrace, with the president saying that the U.S. has once again proven overwhelming air dominance and superiority. He wrote on Truth Social this, quote, "This is a moment that all Americans, Republican, Democrat, and everyone else should be proud of and united around. We truly have the best, most professional and lethal military in the history of the world."
I do think that every American left, right, center should be proud of this. But as I mentioned in the opening, I think there's a group of people who would have much rather seen that weapons systems officer captured so that way they could point their collective fingers at Donald Trump, because why wouldn't they want that? Maybe you disagree with me. Maybe. I don't think they would ever say it publicly, but I think secretly, deep down, there were a lot of Democrats that were waiting for him to be popping up on Iranian state TV so that way they could turn this into a political bludgeon against President Trump. But our military said, hold my beer, we're going to go get him. And that's what they did over Easter weekend. Absolute heroes. Pray for them to have a speedy and quick recovery. On the way, we'll talk a little bit more about the rescue. We'll talk a little bit about the reaction to the rescue. And we got a lot of stories to get to. Any updates that become available, we'll have them for you right here on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand here for the Wellness Institute of Nashville. Are you dealing with pain? Back pain, neck pain, sciatica, herniated or bulging discs, spinal stenosis, maybe some numbness or weakness in your arms, legs, fingers, or toes. You don't have to live that way. Actually, you can get back to a pain-free life today with the Wellness Institute of Nashville. And they have my seal of approval on this deal that could change your life. It's 47% off non-surgical spinal decompression right now at the Wellness Institute. This is not basic therapy. They have the most advanced technology in the business: robotic lasers, anti-gravity machines, cryotherapy, and the hydrowave technology that will stimulate your own stem cells for healing at the cellular level. This is why Dr. Mitchell needs to be your doctor today. Grab your MRI. He'll walk you through it. They'll take x-rays if needed, and he'll give you a plan on how to get back to a pain-free life. It is possible. It starts with a phone call, 615-246-5009. That's 615-246-5009. Or you can find them online at painisbad.com. That's painisbad.com.
Israel takes down another petrochemical plant in Iran. And a surprise announcement from the Supreme Court just moments ago. We've got it for you coming up here at 9:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Oh, a surprise?
A surprise. You'll be surprised.
Is it a good surprise?
It is. Yeah.
All right.
You'll like it.
Joan Jones with the headlines in less than 3 minutes and a lot of pressure. She said, I'm going to like this surprise. I'm not a huge fan of surprises.
You'll have to weigh in after I tell the story.
All right, I will.
Okay.
I will. Looking forward to it. As always, Joan Jones in the newsroom. 615-737-9986 if you want to join the conversation. 615-737-9986. That's the number for the phone lines and the text line. I got a text here. Who was it? TB said WSO, Weapons Systems Officers, they're called WIZOs. I did not know that. I was today years old when I found that out. Also, is it like one of those things, like because I'm not, am I allowed to say it? Do I get a pass? Do I have to get a pass? You know, you get like a hood pass.
Yeah.
You're allowed to say certain words that you're not normally allowed to say. Do I need a military pass for that?
I got a buddy who's in the military. It's okay if I say Wizzo.
It's okay. I have friends in the armed services. Some of my best friends are in the armed services. I swear. I don't know if I'm allowed to say it. So I'm gonna stick to what I know.
Yeah, text line will let us know.
It's not much. Spoiler alert. So a lot of people saying, "Thank God we got the DEI soldiers kicked out." And then I had somebody else say, 8064, talking about the astronauts, said it's an extraterrestrial message. Nice. And then I had other texters saying, "Space is fake." So it's really it's
not real.
It's a mixed bag of what you get on the text line.
Love it.
So we're here for it. The rescue over the weekend, unbelievable. Could you imagine spending 48 hours in the Iranian mountains, knowing without a shadow of a doubt that they're looking for you? That they're looking for you. I'd be crapping my pants. Now, luckily, our soldiers are trained at much higher levels than me. They'd be like, where's that smell of urine coming from? That's probably where the guy is if it was me. That's probably what would happen. 48 hours, and the missing pilot was found. It is truly unbelievable. Donald Trump announced it on Easter morning, saying, we got him. With a long message. We got him. My fellow Americans, over the past several hours, the United States military pulled off one of the most daring search and rescue operations in U.S. history for one of our incredible crew member officers, who also happens to be a highly respected colonel, and who I am thrilled to let you know is now safe and sound. This brave warrior was behind enemy lines in the treacherous mountains of Iran, being hunted down by our enemies, who were getting closer and closer by the hour, but was never truly alone, because his commander-in-chief, Secretary of War, chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, and fellow warfighters were monitoring his location 24 hours a day and diligently planning for his rescue. At my direction, the U.S. military sent dozens of aircraft armed with the most lethal weapons in the world to retrieve him. He sustained injuries, but he will be just fine. The miraculous search and rescue operation comes in addition to a successful rescue of another brave pilot yesterday, which we did not confirm because we did not want to jeopardize our second rescue operation. This is the first time in military memory that 2 U.S. pilots have been rescued separately deep in enemy territory. We will never leave an American warfighter behind, all caps. The fact that we were able to pull off both of these operations without a single American killed or even wounded just proves once again that we have achieved overwhelming air dominance and superiority over the Iranian skies. This is a moment that all Americans, Republican, Democrat, and everyone else should be proud of and united around. We truly have the best, most professional, lethal military in the history of the world. God bless America. God bless our troops, and happy Easter to all. That was the president's message yesterday morning. We'll bring you more on that rescue mission, plus how the leftist media tried to spin it when we get back. It's 9:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good morning. It's 9:30. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. And just crossing the wires, the Supreme Court has vacated contempt of Congress charges against former Trump advisor Steve Bannon. Now, you may remember he refused to honor a subpoena from the January 6th committee, and he spent 4 months in prison for it. The Supreme Court did not explain its decision. There were no dissents. In the news this morning, Israel's military has struck Iran's largest petrochemical site. It's the latest attack by Israel against its key economic infrastructure. The Wall Street Journal reporting the facilities that were attacked are responsible for 50% of that country's petrochemical production. Meantime, President Trump set another deadline, this time for tomorrow, for Iran to open the Strait of Hormuz.
Iran's Navy Command now posting on social media, the Strait of Hormuz will never return to its former state, especially for America and Israel. The response coming hours after President Trump's profanity-laced threat warning Tuesday will be power plant day and bridge day all wrapped up in one. Trump ordering Iran to, in his words, open the expletive strait, you crazy expletive, or you'll be living in hell.
That's ABC's Sophie Flay. The Artemis 2 astronauts are set to reach the far side of the moon. Here's Hannah Battah from ABC News.
Today, the crew is expected to travel farther from Earth than any humans before them. Overnight, the crew completed a short course correction burn, fine-tuning Orion's trajectory as it entered the moon's gravitational zone and set a path to swing around the far side of the moon.
Now, while there, the astronauts will capture images of craters and lava flows, places never seen by the naked eye. That is the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand here from my friends at Zero Res Nashville. You want to know real life in my house right now? We got a lot of paper grass. We got a lot of plastic eggs. And we got 4 kids that are always dragging in dirt, plus the 2 dogs. Baseball season is in full effect. A lot of dirt coming through the front door. And at some point, my wife and I will look at the carpets and we'll say, how did this happen again? And we'll know exactly what we need to do. We need to call Zero Res and get them back to the house. We like these guys. We like their whole approach. No harsh chemicals, no soap left behind. Their special ZR water cleaning system, it actually gets carpets insanely clean and helps them stay clean longer. It's not just a commercial. Every time I do this for Zero Res, I'll get people on the text line like, dude, I really do use Zero Res, and they are as good as you say. And I'm telling you, you're going to feel the exact same way. Plus, as a dad, I like knowing that it's safer for the kids and for the dogs. It's got the Maha approach to cleaning your home. Check the reviews. I'm not the only one impressed. You're going to be impressed as well. They got 2- and 3-room specials going on right now, and it's the perfect time to do it. Spring is basically here. Freshen up that house with our friends at Zero Res. 615-535-9376. That's 615-535-9376. And if you don't like talking to people, you can always book online. ZeroResNashville.com.
Hey, this is Pastor Al, and join us on Super Talk 99.7, Sunday evenings from 7 to 8. We're going to look at the news from a biblical perspective.
37 minutes past the hour. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. We were just having an enthralling conversation behind the scenes. Mason left his window open while it was raining and ruined his own computer.
Listen,
So I said
hold
to him,
on.
I said, have you put it into a bag of rice? And he said the bag of rice method doesn't work. And I said, that's false.
Bag of rice method has never worked for my phones.
2003. I dropped a phone in a toilet.
What kind of phone was it?
It was a flip phone, Samsung. The toilet was clean water. For anybody gets any ideas,
Allegedly.
still very gross. And
Yeah.
I pulled that thing out and I put it in a bag of rice. Dude, it was good to go. You'll be all right.
I did that once. I had one of the old slides, and water was in my screen for the rest of the use of that phone, which was a couple weeks, and then I stole my mom's backup slide phone.
Phones used to be indestructible.
They used to be.
Computers used to be a lot tougher than they are now.
Yeah, you didn't need a case. The case was stylish, not for protection.
I feel like we could do the same conversation about kids. They used to be tougher. I don't know what happened to them. All right, so we don't know. So are you going to keep us updated on if the
Yeah, I'll
computer's
keep you
working or
updated
not?
on what's going on. Yeah, with that lateral rain, our AC's been out, and so with the lateral rain melted the back of it.
Your
basically
AC's
pelted.
been out for like 2 years at that place.
This is a different place.
Okay.
My place in Murfreesboro, we had the AC out right before our lease ended. We moved to this place, and we've had on and off issues with the AC here.
Yeah.
Don't buy a Beezer home if you can.
Okay. Thanks for the tips.
Yeah, just fun tips with Mason on how to survive in a home without AC.
That's Mason Fleming in the producer studio. I almost said newsroom, but not today.
Not today.
Did good last week.
Nah, they kicked me
Joan
out.
told me that she was biting her nails. She's very nervous. That you're
I
coming
think
for the
Joan
job.
listened and went, "Phew, I have job security.
Maybe.
Wait, hang on. I just eavesdropped a little bit. What did I do?
You were biting your nails after you heard Mason deliver the news last week.
Oh, yeah. No, actually, I was texting him.
He's coming for my job.
Yeah, I was telling him how good he sounded.
She's giving me tips on how to be better. It's like maybe don't rush through those words, Mason.
It helps.
Slow down.
It helps.
Yeah.
All right, so the big story on the news docket today, rescued F-15 pilot, former CENTCOM commander, retired General Frank McKenzie, put it perfectly on the rescue and how it looks for America.
48 hours to find the missing weapons systems officer after the jet they were in went down in a remote and mountainous area of southwestern Iran. The weapons officer was hiding in a mountainous crevice, we're told by a senior administration official. What's your assessment of how the search and rescue operation went?
So I think I'd draw two lessons from it, Ed. First of all, the excellence of the joint force, our ability to rapidly pivot to look for a downed air crewman. We train for this endlessly. It's a part of every time we send air crew over enemy territory. We have detailed, elaborate plans to go get them. It's a very basic part of who we are as American fighting men and women. So that plan swung into action. I think it was executed pretty effectively. As always, you've got somebody on the ground, maybe injured. They got to get to a position where they can hide until you can get to them. All that seemed to work out very well. And you know, we did in fact lose a couple of aircraft in that mission. But I would just tell you, it takes a year to build an aircraft. It takes 200 years to build a military tradition where you don't leave anybody behind. You take the aircraft trade any day in a situation like this.
Amen, sir. Yes, I would absolutely take that. Would you make that deal? I'd make that deal. Sounds like, you know what it sounds like? Sounds like a damn good deal.
I'll make that deal. How about you, Udovich? You make that deal?
I'd make that deal.
I don't blame you. Damn good deal.
Donald Trump was on a phone call with Kristen Welker of NBC's Meet the Press, and he said to her that the rescue was an Easter miracle, that the enemy was large and violent. The rescuers were brilliant, strong, decisive, and cool as anyone can be, Trump said, according to NBC's Meet the Press moderator, Kristen Welker. He said the Iranians thought they had him, but it wasn't even close. And remember, we got two, but couldn't talk about the first in that it would have highlighted that there was a second, he added. The president called it a first-of-its-kind rescue, saying such a rescue has never happened before in so violent an enemy territory. It is usually not done because it is considered not doable. Such a great military like no other. Happy Easter, President Trump concluded in his message. The pilot of the F-15E was rescued shortly after it was down by Iranian forces Thursday night, but the location of the weapons systems officer, the WISO, was not determined by U.S. personnel until Saturday. The rescue unfolded as Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps attempted to locate the WSO. They didn't get him. They didn't get him. You know what really infuriates me, though, is the leftist spin on all of this. There's a headline going around from the Daily Mail, and Rapid Response on X took aim at it. This is the headline. You ready for the headline? From the Daily Mail. Trump's daring extraction of U.S. airmen trapped in Iran almost failed and cost dozens of American lives. Remember when I said that members of the leftist media were rooting for this to fail? Remember when I said that I'm sure there are some Democrats out there who wanted this weapons systems officer captured so that way they could point their collective fingers at Donald Trump and say, aha, you did this, orange man. How dare you? This is exactly what I'm talking about. Trump's daring extraction of U.S. airmen trapped in Iran almost failed and cost dozens of American lives. You know, the key word there being almost. We're dealing in hypotheticals here. You know, it almost cost dozens of American lives, except for the fact that it didn't. So there's that. Rapid Response 47 on X responded, "You sick freaks. No lives were lost because America's warfighters are the most powerful, lethal, and precise fighting force ever known to man. God bless our heroes." That's it. God bless our heroes. And to disparage, it almost cost dozens of, they didn't. Want to know why? Because our guys are the best. So it was actually executed as perfect as it could. And retired General Frank McKenzie on CBS's Face the Nation said, you've got to be reasonably satisfied where we are today in this conflict.
Yeah, they have the ability to inflict damage. They do not have the ability to gain mass effects. And by mass effects, I mean firing many, many dozens of rockets, missiles, or drones. I think that capability has been eroded steadily since this campaign began. And frankly, at about plus 30 days into this campaign, I think if you're at Central Command, you've got to be reasonably satisfied with where you are right now. In fact, Ed, when I was the CENTCOM commander, if you had given me this situation at plus 30 days, I would have rejected it as being too optimistic by far. So we've had good effect. Our effects are going to continue. It's going to be increasingly harder for them to launch missiles and rockets. We may not get to zero for a while, and I think there's still some time ahead, but everyone realizes that. But I think we're on track here. This campaign is moving very effectively, and I believe the pace will pick up every day.
Pace will continue to pick up. We're in a good spot. Had you told me this 30 days ago, I would have said you were too optimistic. So it appears that we could still be on that 2 to 3 week trajectory to end this conflict, which, I mean, we're what, down to 2 days, two weeks now. So I'm praying for that. I hope you are as well. The Iranians are rejecting peace deals, and they're pushing propaganda online. This tweet, if you're watching on Supertalk TV, was going viral all weekend long. IRGC Public Relations posted this, and it says, U.S. soldier's skull found among the wreckage of one of the downed C-130s. I mean, you ever see the pictures where they're like, look, it's a face on Mars? You know, you ever see those? And everybody's like, yeah, but it's a rock formation, and your brain is making you think it's like the same thing, except with burnt out metal. That's the best I can do, right? Is that a good explanation? I feel like that's a fair explanation. It looks like a face. Must be a skull.
Makes sense.
That's what they do. That's what they do. But people will say Iran is winning. That's what people want to say. Iran is winning. Scott Jennings was dealing with this over the weekend on CNN. He had a leftist from the Obama administration, Naira Haq, and she was a former Obama staffer. And she said, you know, the memes actually are what's keeping Iran in this. Memes like this, the red circle look like you did in an iPhone paint shop, right? Where you draw a little circle around something with your finger, and they're like, look, it's a skull. These are the memes that are keeping Iran in the fight. And Scott Jennings was like, are we doing this? You're saying Iran's winning because of internet memes?
The meme war and internet
propaganda, which is something actually the Iranians have been known for and influencing. And so they had, for all of our talk on our side of all the people killed in the regime, they have been pushing out through multiple channels around the world images of the American army generals and military people who have also lost their jobs at this time. So the way this looks out in the public is not a United States that is locked and loaded and working in one direction.
Do you think that the Iranians would rather have their entire Navy back or their memes?
I mean, come on, what are we doing here? What do you think? I think that they would rather have their Navy, which they don't anymore. I think they'd rather have air superiority, and as you saw by the daring rescue over the weekend, they don't. All they have is memes. But the rescue over the weekend, it just shows the dominance of the American military. They were talking about it. James D. Murphy, former F-15 pilot on Fox News this morning, talking about that rescue.
We learn in SEER school that, as soon as you eject, you need to gather your parachute, conceal those things immediately so somebody can't see you from the air and start moving out. And in this case, our pilot ejected and was rescued almost immediately. But when you eject, depending on what altitude and what the winds are, you can get separated from each other. And that's probably what happened in this case. And oh, by the way, when you hit the ground, you might actually start heading in different directions. So it was just an amazing job done by this colonel. Following his SEER protocols, that training just comes in and kicks in almost like muscle memory. And it saved his life ultimately. And he just did a phenomenal job.
Went up a mountain, hid in a crevice, and stayed patient. President Trump is no longer staying patient with the Iranians. He posted yesterday on True Social quite the warning for the Iranians, saying Tuesday will be power plant day and bridge day, all wrapped up in one. Iran, there will be nothing like it. Open the effing strait, you crazy bastards, or you'll be living in hell. Just watch. Praise be to Allah, President Donald J. Trump. Whew. Yeah, this is a wild post. A hell of a threat. Quite the warning to the Iranians. He said, praise be to Allah at the end. That is a smack in the face to the Iranians and the Muslims on Easter Sunday. Make no mistake about it, the death cult that is Islam being put on notice there by the president. One representative was not a huge fan of this, was a huge fan of this. Representative Darrell Issa, he's a Republican out of California, and he reacted to those tweets, Truth Social posts from Donald Trump over the weekend and the timeline that was put out.
Like it, open the F word straight, you crazy B words, or you'll be living in hell. Just watch. Praise be to Allah. Congressman, do you want to see the U.S. start hitting, like the president says, civilian infrastructure in Iran?
Well, the answer is, of course, the president didn't want to do it. He'd like to turn over to the Iranian people a country that can recover quickly with a change in the regime's behavior or a change of regime. But from the beginning, the president's made it clear that the first hit was to stop the nuclear development when it was on the precipice of being used. The second one is to change the behavior of the administration or change administration. And the president in his negotiations been clear, he'll take either one. If this regime is willing to change its ways through a negotiation that leads to a verifiable peace, okay. But at the end of the day, he'll do what he has to do, and that includes taking the oil away from them, taking away their ability to move equipment. And Peter, let's be honest, when you take away bridges, you take away the ability for them to transport future weapons development, to run factories. So they're not purely civilian targets, but they are less valuable than the ones we hit initially from a standpoint of current weapons fighting. But in the long run, the president's going to eliminate their ability to operate as a regime if they're not willing to capitulate. And he's made that very, very clear.
Again, that was Rep. Darrell Issa, a Republican out of California, reacting to the Trump post, reacting to the threat that has been placed on the Iranian regime. You want Tuesday to be bridge and power plant day? Well, then don't cut a deal. He said that you have until Tuesday at 8 o'clock Eastern time. Something that we'll be paying attention to very closely here on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Also, don't forget today at noon Central Time. The president will be jumping into that White House press briefing. If it kicks off earlier and we're still on the air, we'll cover it live for you. If not, we'll have all the reaction tomorrow. On the way, we got some more thoughts from the rescue over the weekend, the current conflict in Iran. We'll also talk a little bit about shutdowns on the way, and California. The story around California just gets crazier and crazier and crazier. It's like a huge tree. There's so many different branches that we could jump off of. But from the Olympics to the fraud, we got some updates on California. We'll bring that to you as well. And then at 10:35, we're going to talk about SB 2040 with one Dr. Ford. Looking forward to that conversation as well. It's 9:52. This is Super Talk 99.7 WTN. 59 minutes past the hour on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. Hope your day is going well as we get back into the week after the holiday weekend. We're going to take some of your phone calls on the way on the pilot crash. I see Allison and Mike hanging on the line. We also have some audio from Trey Yingst, who was on a phone call with the president over the weekend, breaking down what he's hearing from the president directly on Fox News earlier. And the famous egg roll is currently happening at the White House. If we get any interesting bits of audio out of the president, we'll bring you that on the way as well. Lot to get to, only a little bit of time. You can find us on all the apps. You can find us on YouTube and Rumble. Hit like and hit subscribe. And you can find me on social media at Chris Hand on Air, at Chris Hand on Air on all the social media platforms. It's 10 o'clock. This is Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. There's a new effort to get at least a temporary ceasefire on the table for Iran and the U.S. to consider.
Pakistan, Turkey, Egypt, they're among those who have been pounding out a 45-day ceasefire to reopen the Strait of Hormuz and, again, try to buy some time before we could see the United States military really escalate their attacks on these different infrastructure sites. Now, the plan, we're told, was sent to the U.S. and Iran late Sunday and is viewed as a last-ditch effort to try and see if they could find an off-ramp to this war.
That's CNN's Elena Treen. Now, Breitbart is reporting that Vice President J.D. Vance and envoy Steve Witkoff were involved in overnight talks with Iran's foreign minister. President Trump is considering that ceasefire now. ABC is reporting that Iran is threatening to tighten oil and gas markets even further.
Iran threatening to close yet another important shipping channel, this one in the Red Sea. It's called the Bab al-Mandeb Strait off the coast of Yemen, where Iran-backed Houthi rebels have operated. A top Iranian official warning the flow of global energy and trade can be disrupted with a single move.
That's ABC's Olivia Rubin. No response from the State Department or the White House. President Trump will hold a press conference at noon Central Time today. There is new video out of Iran this morning. It shows an Iranian Air Force munitions facility being blown up by an Israeli airstrike. Israel has also obliterated an Iranian petrochemical site this morning. 2 pedestrians killed early Sunday morning when they were walking back to their car from a bar on Lafayette Street in Nashville. The driver had been speeding when he hit the couple and then got out of the car and ran away on foot. Neighbors tell Channel 4 it's not the first time this has happened.
But at nighttime, it's so dark, and people speed up and down this intersection. It's 2 weekends in a row that we done lost 3 people over somebody driving too fast, disobeying the law.
That's Yolanda Parnham and Kanan Oldham were both killed. The crash involved a 2011 Lexus sedan. The owner of that car came to the scene of the crash to help police. It's not clear if that car had been stolen. The White County Sheriff's Office is investigating after human remains were discovered on the side of Highway 70 on Sunday.
A group of people had stopped that were picking up trash Sunday right near Bon Air Mountain when they found those remains in a wooded area. The remains were sent to the medical examiner's office.
That's Channel 4's Holly Thompson. The sheriff's office says it appears those remains had been there for a while. That is the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
It's 10:06 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hands. Show's brought to you by Better Water LLC. Water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. In a moment, we'll play you some of the comments from Donald Trump at the egg roll. I don't know why. I haven't heard him yet. We're going to listen to him together. But I'm already laughing because I see in one of the quotes, he brings up Venezuela. And I don't know why, but it just makes me giggle because I bet you all of these little kids on the White House lawn that are about to do the egg roll, they couldn't point Venezuela out on the map. But he's going to be like, kids, you're so lucky I took out Maduro. And they'd be like, okay. Okay, sir. It just makes me laugh. It's hilarious. But I got a couple people that want to talk about the pilot rescue in Iran over the weekend. Let's start with Allison. Appreciate you holding, Allison. What do you got?
Sure. Thank you, Chris. I'm on a WhatsApp feed out of Israel, curated and administrated by some folks over there.
Oh, so you're calling us from Israel?
No. I'm in Nashville.
Oh.
I've been to Israel a couple of times, and
oh, got you. So you're in a WhatsApp group where you guys are.
I'm in a WhatsApp
group. Got you.
Time.
Okay.
So anyway, these are a couple of little details that are pretty cool with regard to the Navigator rescue. New details have emerged about the rescue of the American F-15E Navigator shot down over Iran. The officer was initially unconscious with a concussion and did not transmit a distress signal. He made first contact at noon on Friday, climbed to higher ground to avoid detection, walked 10 to 12 kilometers, and hid in a crevice from which he sent precise coordinates on Friday night. Israel refrained from striking in the area and provided intelligence during the operation. During Friday and Saturday, Israel was also asked to assist with air superiority and struck relevant targets. This is the cool part. U.S. forces seized a farm 18 kilometers from his hideout, landed 2 aircraft and small helicopters, and extracted him from the crevice before returning him to the farm. During takeoff, 2 C-130 aircraft became stuck in the sand. 3 smaller planes were then called in to evacuate the Navigator and Special Forces, and fighter jets later bombed the 2 stranded aircraft to prevent capture. Now, is that cool or what?
It's so cool. I mean, on so many levels. And I know these guys are highly trained and more than capable of this. But I always go into my own mind and like try to think like how would I deal with this? And I can't imagine the stress and the anxiety and all of the different things that you have to think about while you're down there doing this. It's unbelievable.
As we've been saying, they have this anticipation that my brothers are going to come and get me.
Yeah, God bless it. I mean, you want to talk about a recruitment ad for the military. There it is. It's right there.
No man left behind.
Amen. Right. Hey, I appreciate the call, Allison, and thank you.
Quick question: is it your show that the Hebrew?
Yes.
Got a Hebrew
yeah. My guy Dave. He calls in all the time.
Hebrew.
He's our favorite Hebrew. We love Dave.
I just want, if he's listening today, Dave, I want to say Hag Pesach Sameach. That means have a happy Passover.
All right. Thank you, Allison. I appreciate you. And
Bye, Chris.
Yeah, thank you so much. That's a cool call. Let's go to Mike in Nashville. What's up, Mike? Yo, Mike. We kept Mike on hold for a minute. We'll put Mike back on hold. We'll do a wellness check on Mike. Mike calls us while he's at work. He always works hard. He works harder than we do. Let's go to Brian in Madison. What's up, Brian?
Hey, bro, I work harder than you, too.
I know you do. I wouldn't take that away from you. I would imagine.
Driving just like Mike.
Listen, I would imagine 97 to 98% of this audience works harder than I do.
Which means what? We're just out here toiling while you're having a good time, and we're listening to you, and we want to be you.
You guys are grinding. Salute to everybody that works harder than me. It's a lot of people.
That's right. People used to say back to the grind or something, and somebody said $1 a day, and I said, no, it's 50 cents now with inflation.
Yeah, you're not lying.
So, I got a couple of comments. One, first, I think I'd like to say that I'm chuckling too, because everybody gets so uptight about Trump saying things inappropriately. And it really gets me when a lot of my friends talk about Trump like they really, they're for him or they love the success, da-da-da-da. And then all of a sudden, but I wish he would tone it down a bit. And I go, let me tell you something. Sometimes I wish you would tone it down a bit, and sometimes I wish I would tone it down a bit.
That's
but
fair.
let him be him,
I think
he paid the price to sit in that chair.
And the reason he's in the chair is because of his authenticity. That is his that's his superpower. And it's I don't want to change it at all. I'm grateful for the authenticity.
100%. I sometimes wish he would be a pastor because I could listen to him for a longer time than I can some pastors. And not Alan Jackson, he's very good, but Trump, when he talks, I just almost, this is silly, but I almost can't tear myself away. I want to see what's he going to say next.
Yep.
Talking to those children about Maduro, if that's what he's doing.
Yeah. I'm gonna play it for you in a second. You got to tell the kids. You got to let the kids know that we took out the dictator in South America.
100%. Well, the Bible says train them up the way they should go, and so there you go. The other thing is, our military is being lauded for picking up that weapons guy, and 100%. I mean, I'm behind the military. I'm behind Trump's effort, Hegseth, all those guys. I want to be a patriot when I grow up. I'm 65, but when I grow up, I want to be a patriot, and I don't want to die for it. But I think I might. I can't tell you in the circumstances whether I would or not, but I think I would. I think I would go to war to save our country and our people and the freedoms that we enjoy. But, here's one thing that I think is left out of the conversation that needs to be said, and that is we won't leave a body there either. If the guy's dead, we still want him.
Yep.
And I think that's what separates us from a lot of people in the world. The last thing is, one more thing. I'm sorry, I'm going long. Happy Easter. And you'll say, well, that was yesterday. I'll say, no, happy Easter's every day, brother.
Amen. He's risen. Hey, I appreciate the call, Brian, as always. Let's go to Shane in Macomb County. What's up, Shane?
Hey, I was listening to you earlier, and you were absolutely right when you said that there was probably Democrats around the country that were hoping that this guy was going to end up getting kidnapped. Case in point, I was watching Jesse Waters, I believe last week. I think it was right after the No Kings rally. And he was talking, they sent him to one of this guy on the street, Johnny, sent him out to one of these rallies. And they were talking about the war. And the guy said, hey, asked the protester, aren't you rooting for America to win? And she said, well, no, not with Trump as president.
Exactly. It's crazy.
It's nuts. They hate him more than they love their country. It's ridiculous.
You're absolutely right. And I made the point earlier, and I appreciate the call, Shane. Yeah, I do think that a lot of Democrats' Easter were ruined by this rescue. I think a lot of Democrats were actually looking forward to the fact that they could come into this week while pictures of this soldier would have been all over Iranian state TV, all over social media, and I go into worst case scenario mode. The newspaper's held up. He's tied to a chair. There's a blindfold on. He's bleeding. He's obviously been tortured. Like you think of all the awful things that could have happened. That's what the Democrats were rooting for, my friends, just so that way they could point a finger at Donald Trump and say, look what you did, Orange Man. I fully believe that. I fully believe that. Let's go to Mike in Nashville. What's up, Mike?
Okay. Yeah, how you doing, Chris? Hey, before I get to the down pilot, now I want to ask you a question because a lot of people are talking about this. The tweet that Donald Trump sent out yesterday. Now, let me ask you something. Do you think that that's the right way to negotiate? Do you think somebody would want to negotiate with you if you sent out a message saying using profanity and using that type of language that Trump used? Do you think that a president should use that type of language?
So, okay, I think it would be different if we were negotiating with France, but we're negotiating with the radical Islamists that run Iran. And there's one thing and one thing only that they understand, and that is sheer force. So I think it doesn't bother me. I understand how it could have rubbed people the wrong way. I actually liked the tweet. I think that it's you need to be strong, and I think that's what that was.
Okay. Let me ask you this question. Okay, Now we have another Democrat, which is no surprise. They did the same thing a couple of months ago. I forgot what state. I think they said he was from Oregon. Okay, they're already saying that if tomorrow comes and Donald Trump decides to bomb the infrastructure of Iran, which is the water supply, electricity, that some guy in Oregon claims that that's a war crime, and that he's going to try to prosecute Trump for that. And then he also said that he is telling the soldiers, the military, to disobey Donald Trump's orders. Don't you think that that's treason against America?
I do.
You have a Congress or Senate. You can go and look it up for yourself, because this guy from Oregon is telling the military people not to follow the directions of Donald Trump. And I'd like to hear what you have to think about that. And do you think that this senator or congressman should be have some kind of repercussions for saying what he said? Now, thank you for taking my call.
Hey, I appreciate it. I mean, I would love to see some repercussions. I doubt we'll ever see them. I mean, nothing ever happens, especially when it comes to Democrats and accountability. So, I mean, there's that. But no, I think the military is backing Donald Trump more than anybody gives him credit for. I mean, you see what happened over the weekend. Who do you want as your commander-in-chief? A guy that closes an Air Force base down in the dead of night and leaves you stranded there and have to deal with suicide bombers like we saw in Afghanistan with Joe Biden? Or would you like the guy who stops at nothing to go get one soldier left behind in enemy lines? I'll take the guy that goes after the soldier every single time. That guy was on the White House lawn this morning, and he was doing the Easter egg roll. And I mentioned this earlier in the show. It is, people be mad, Donald Trump. People be mad. People be upset. Yeah, they don't think it'd be like it is, but it do. People be upset because Donald Trump will say mean words. I think that's authentically himself. I think it's one of the reasons why he won. I think that's his superpower. But those same people that are mad that he used a curse word are also mad that he's invoking the name of Jesus. And that's what he did this morning on the White House lawn.
I think we're going to send him to the Met. We'll get a little commission, make a lot of money, because that man can sing. Thank you very much. It's not the first time we've heard him. So today is a very special day. It's a day where we celebrate Jesus. It's a day where we celebrate religion. And it's an honor to be the President of the United States. Our country is doing so well, like it has never done before. You'll see that very shortly. And things that we've done have not been done before. We've broken every record on the stock market. We've broken every record in our military. And what about the rescue that took place yesterday?
So he brings up the rescue, and again, I love it, because I imagine there's a bunch of kids that are just getting absolutely bored, right? So this is me. This is the parent in me. You know, the president is speaking, and there's some kid there tugging on his mom's dress because he wants a snack. And there's another kid that is doing forward rolls in the grass. And mom and dad are just panicked. They're like, oh, my gosh, Johnny, will you just behave for a second? The president is speaking. And he's running off, and mom has to chase him, or dad has to chase him. Like, this is how it happens with kids. But the president's up there, and he's like, let's talk about the rescue. I'm here for it, and I know you are as well. He's standing next to Melania and the Easter Bunny, and he drops this.
And what about the rescue that took place yesterday? What about that? That's something that you rarely see. You know, they were giving me a briefing about that. And they said normally when you're in very hostile territory, and I don't think it gets much more hostile than Iran, they're capable fighters. They're very tough people. And there are others like that. You don't mind when the enemy is weak, but that enemy is strong. Not so strong like they were about a month ago. I can tell you, in fact, right now, they're not too strong at all, in my opinion, but we're soon going to find out, aren't we? But when a thing like that happens, where a pilot shot down, in most instances, you're really not able to go in, because you'll go in with 200 people and lots of jet fighters and helicopters, and you really don't have a chance. They get shot down. You lose 200 in order to pick up one. It's a horrible thing, but it's very rare that you can do it. And what we did yesterday is we picked up not one, we picked up two. We kept the first one quiet, and we were able to keep it quiet for about a day, which made it a lot better. But those two pilots were incredible, brave, and we thank them. And we're going to be having a news conference today at 1 o'clock.
We're looking forward to the news conference. That'll be 12 o'clock Central. But I imagine as he's detailing all of this, as they're on the White House front lawn, and there are all these kids that have won the lottery to do the White House egg roll, that there were a lot of looks shot at these little kids from their parents. You know the look if you have little kids. We've all done the look. It's just the don't you dare. I imagine that was happening quite a bit.
Oh, probably.
The president is talking about saving soldiers behind enemy lines, and you're asking me for an applesauce pouch right now? I need a moment. You got to chill. It had to happen. I wonder if any kids got put on timeout.
I don't know.
How many ears were pulled?
Getting yanked.
Like here's the president. This would be me, right? Here's the president talking about an unbelievable mission behind enemy lines, and you're arguing with your sister over a sticker? Is that what you're doing?
I'll get you both one. Shut your mouth.
And then as he continues, he also brought up Venezuela, which I imagine this was among the 5 and 6 year olds waiting for the eggs. This was what they came for. They didn't come for the eggs. They came for the Venezuela update.
And we look forward to it. But I just want to say we have a great military. We're the greatest military, the most powerful military any place in the world. You saw what happened with Venezuela.
It's got to be a kid going, looking at mom like, what's a Venezuela?
And it's an honor. I built it in my first term, and I didn't know I was going to be using it this much in my second term, but it's my honor, and they're the greatest people on earth. Our warriors are the greatest fighters on earth, and they very much appreciate you and love you, and that's why they do it. So this is all about today, I must tell you.
That was the president today at the egg roll a little while ago on the White House lawn. Again, I picture a lot of kids. Mom, can I get a Venezuela when we go home? Mom, can I have a military? They sound awesome. They sound great. We'll bring you more comments from this. We'll also bring you some of the audio from Trey Yingst on the way. And at 10:30, we'll be talking with Dr. Ford when it comes to SB 2040. It's 10:22. This is Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand here for my friends at Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling, and I got to tell you about the Spring Breathe Easy package. This package is designed to help homeowners clear out the dust, the allergens, the pet dander, all of that before the summer heat arrives. This powerful package includes an AC tune-up plus a professional indoor air quality check to make sure that the air that your family's breathing is clean and healthy. You're also going to receive a dust inspection and premium air duct cleaning. That's going to remove the buildup and the debris that is hiding deep inside your system. But that's not all. Busy Bee will also install a whole home germicidal system to help reduce the airborne contaminants. And with premium service, you'll get a Bonnet Unit Fog Deodorizer, leaving your home so fresh, so clean, just like spring itself. Now you get all this value for just $11.99 on 1.5 to 3 ton systems, regularly $1,800, or $15.99 for 3.5 to 5 ton units, regularly $20.99. Take advantage of this deal today. Call my friends at Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling, 615-775-7833, 615-775-7833, busybeehvac.com.
President Trump's threats if Iran doesn't open up the Strait of Hormuz. And Tennesseans have even more reason to love the volunteer state. We've got that and more at 10:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
That's Joan Jones in the newsroom. My name is Chris Hand. 10:27. I didn't know if I want. I don't know. Sometimes talking's hard. I almost said 10:27, and I was almost going to say 27 minutes past the hour, and then I didn't do either of them well.
It's okay.
It's all right. It's all right.
I'll give you a pass this time.
Thanks. Hey,
You're welcome.
Trent in Madison wants to talk. What's up, Trent? How are you, sir?
Hey, I loved President Trump's tweet.
I knew it was the seminar caller. Why do you why do you use different names? Like, it's so weird.
I called this,
You're like in your 50s and like you call radio stations and you give a fake name.
And I run a successful business at the same time. It's great.
Dude, congratulations. That's dope.
Yeah, so I loved President Trump's tweet that praise be to Allah. That was awesome. He so owned the libtards. But can you help me understand how doing that makes us safer by pissing off all our Arab allies?
I think that the Iranians respect one thing, and that is strength, and that's what the president is putting on full display. You strike me as one of the liberals. You strike me as one of the liberals who would have loved for that weapons systems officer to be captured behind enemy lines, so that way you could call into a radio show like mine today and be like, "Oh, what did the orange man do?" Unfortunately for you, the only thing that you have to complain about today is words on a screen that you don't have to look at if you don't want to, because the daring rescue was executed, and it was unbelievable by our great military men and women. Do you have any words of praise for the members of the military? Any kudos, any thumbs up that you want to give to President Trump for this daring mission? Or are you going to focus on a tweet that rubbed you the wrong way because you're a Republican from New Jersey and, let's keep it classy, guys?
What our military did is unbelievable.
There it is. Let's lead. How about we lead with that? How about we lead with that?
Don't rush me off.
Let's lead with that.
No.
No. Bye, Trent. Bye, Trent. Sorry, I couldn't do it.
I don't blame you.
I'll have people tell me like, "Oh, your patience with callers is so great." It's with the seminar caller, it's wearing thin. I told Mason before. I went because he was on the line. And I was like, we're going to do once per season from now on with the seminar caller.
Which is fine with me.
Just once. Pray for him. I do. I mean that in all honesty. Pray for that guy. Pray that he has a heart change. And not just in the Southern way. It's not a bless your heart in the Southern way. But seriously, pray for a heart change. We will talk a little bit more about Donald Trump and the daring rescue that happened over the weekend. We'll bring you more audio on the way from the egg roll, and we'll also be keeping our eyes on this White House press briefing that's going to be happening today at 12 o'clock Central Time, because it is going to be one for the ages, because there's a deadline in effect. You have until 8 o'clock Tuesday night, or it's bridge and power plant day in Iran. We'll talk about all that and more on the way, but when we get back after the headlines, we're going to stop down for a second. We're going to talk about SB 2040 passing through the Tennessee legislature currently, and we'll talk about what it really means for pharmacies in the area. It's 10:30. This is Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. European officials warning the White House that targeting Iranian civilian infrastructure for destruction would be illegal. Brett McGurk is a CNN global affairs analyst. He says these officials are overreacting.
We have JAG officers who are very careful in CENTCOM and know how targets are selected. So I'm fairly confident that if we carry out a target, that it would be a military target within the laws of armed conflict. That's just how the U.S. military operates.
It comes after President Trump threatened to destroy bridges and power plants if it didn't open up the Strait of Hormuz by tomorrow. A passenger on a plane that landed in Nashville Saturday has been arrested after deplaning. A 15-year-old girl sitting next to the man alerted flight attendants that he had touched her inappropriately while she was asleep. That man is scheduled to make a court appearance this morning. We know now the identity of the 17-year-old who was killed in a single-vehicle crash in the Belshire area early Easter morning. News 2's Kenley Hargett.
Metro police say Jalen Brevard was driving on Dickinson Pike when he lost control of the car, crossed all lanes of traffic, hit a concrete pole, and overturned. He was pronounced dead at Skyline Medical Center.
Investigators say Brevard was wearing a seatbelt and showed no signs of impairment. Tennessee, one of the states with the lowest tax burden in the nation. Wallet Hub's latest report shows Tennessee ranked third lowest on the list for total tax burden and third lowest for property tax burden. But it's also one of the highest states for sales and excise taxes. The other states with the lowest overall tax burden include Alaska, New Hampshire, Florida, and Delaware. That is the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
This is a paid endorsement by a current client.
Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand for Paul Winkler, Inc. So Paul is absolutely my financial advisor, and I've been working with him for years. I'm a big fan of how he teaches as he guides. And you know what? That's the way all of his offices work. They believe that you're going to be more confident when you know what you're doing and why you're doing it. Think about where you actually get most of your information about investing. It's usually in some way coming from investment salespeople, mutual fund companies, or financial shows on TV where they interview people who would love it if you'd buy a stock they own or invest in their latest idea. And you'll hear that financial salespeople messaging talking about guaranteed retirement income, which is usually a code word for high commission annuities. Not the case with Paul. They sit on your side of the table. You need that. Do what I did. Go to paulwinkler.com and set up a 15-minute phone call. Run your situation by them and see how they can help. paulwinkler.com.
Advisory services offered through Paul Winkler Inc., an SEC-registered investment advisor.
36 minutes past the hour, Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, how are you? I'm Chris Hand. Show's brought to you by our friends at Better Water LLC, water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. Excited to welcome in our next guest who has spent decades digging into economics of healthcare policy. And right now, his work is hitting very close to home for a lot of Tennessee families. Dr. George Ford is a chief economist and co-founder of the Phoenix Center for Advanced Legal and Economic Public Policy Studies. He's done deep research on the Tennessee pharmacy situation. Dr. Ford, welcome to the show. Appreciate you being here.
Hey, great to be here, John. Thanks.
Yes, sir. So, Dr. Ford.
Yes, I'm sorry.
No, you're good. I was gonna breeze right past it because I'm more interested in what you have to say than what name you're calling me.
Oh, the John.
No, you're good. So, I think a good place to start. We're going to be talking about SB 2040, but before we get there, a lot of people have never even heard of what a pharmacy benefit manager is, or PBM, which is like what it's commonly referred to. Before we dive into Senate Bill 2040, can you explain in plain English what these companies actually do and why they matter to regular Tennessee families that are just trying to afford to fill their prescriptions?
Sure. Pharmaceuticals are a massive part of American healthcare, and the drug market is very complex. I would guess it's probably the most complex business in the country. You've got manufacturers setting prices, doctors write prescriptions, pharmacies dispense, insurers manage benefits, and patients trying to afford all of it and get access to it. And somebody has to coordinate all that complexity. And that is the pharmacy benefit manager. Okay, it sets up what drugs you can get. It negotiates with manufacturers for what prices will be paid. It sets up how the costs are shared amongst the various participants. It builds pharmacy networks to ensure prices are good. It then processes the claims. It does all that background material that allows you to walk into a pharmacy and hand them a piece of paper and say, I need this drug, and you pay $2 or whatever for it as your copay, or pay full price if you don't have insurance. So it's all that background that allows this very complicated process to appear seamless to the patient. And they work to keep the prices low, because that's what, when you buy your insurance or you buy the drugs, you want a low price, and they negotiate all the deals to try to keep those prices low.
We're talking with Dr. Ford. So Tennessee ran an audit. This is my understanding. You tell me what you think. Tennessee ran an audit, and that audit essentially got them to the place where we are today with SB 2040. And you looked at this audit of a major PBM that lawmakers keep quoting as proof of that they'll look at as proof of shady practices. And you say that the auditor got it completely backwards. Can you walk us through?
They messed it up.
Can you walk us through what it claimed, and then what you're learning based on this audit?
Sure. Yeah. Because of the role of the PBM in keeping drug costs low, they make a lot of enemies. Two in particular, drug manufacturers and smaller independent pharmacies who have to compete with Walmarts and people like that who are very efficient in their operations and charge low prices. And one of the complaints that are levied against PBMs is when a PBM operates its own pharmacy, and many of them do, like mail order pharmacies are often PBM related, and some local pharmacies are affiliated with a PBM. And so you want to, cast dispersion on the PBM, and so you attack this relationship. One of the claims is that a PBM pays its affiliated pharmacies more than it does unaffiliated pharmacies, and this is a horrible practice. That's the claim. What the auditor in Tennessee did was he looked at the prices that a PBM paid its own affiliated pharmacies and the prices it paid non-affiliated pharmacies. Okay. Now, if the PBM always favored its affiliated pharmacy, then you'd see 100% higher payment to the affiliate. if it always overpaid a non-affiliated pharmacy, you'd see 100% higher payments to the non-affiliate or 0% higher payments to its affiliate. What the auditor found was that in 24% of cases, the PBM paid its affiliate more.
You said how many percent?
24% more. Okay, that's a lot closer to 0 than it is 100.
Yep.
Okay, you would expect if it was just sort of random, you know, I mean, because the pricing is very complex. The prices change daily. There are contracts. There's all sorts of noise in the system, right? So you'd expect that about 50% of the time, the affiliate would be paid more, and 50% of the time it'd be paid less. So the standard for equal treatment is 50%, not 0. The auditor assumed it was 0. But 0 is actually, or 24% is much closer to 0, which actually means that the PBM is paying its affiliate less on average than it does its affiliate. So the conclusion is exactly backwards.
Yeah, I mean, I was getting to that. Your research into this kind of flips the entire script. You're arguing that independent pharmacies actually have an economic incentive to charge more, while the PBM pharmacies and those systems are actually pushed to keep prices lower.
Oh yeah, that's exactly why they exist, is to do that. And that's exactly why they get in the business of having their pharmacy, is to keep prices low, because they can't trust the independent pharmacies to do that.
And when they position this bill, they position it as anti-big pharma. But when you take a step back and you look at a bill like SB 2040, which would basically ban certain pharmacy models overnight, who is actually benefiting from this? I mean, it's being sold as protecting consumers and independents, but your work suggests it's the exact opposite.
It's the opposite. The face of it is the independent pharmacies, small independent pharmacies, because they have a very difficult time competing with larger pharmacies. And the PBM's business is to keep drug prices low. If I can get a drug dispensed at Walmart for $1, I'm not going to pay somebody else $2 to do it. Okay, that eventually ends up either the customer is going to pay that extra dollar and at the counter, or the customer is going to pay that extra dollar in their insurance bill. So when the insurer's goal for the dollars it gets in is it wants the most health care it can get for every dollar. And to do that, it has to find low prices. If it can't get low prices from pharmacies, it will open its own pharmacy. That's basically what's going on here. And so what this SB 2040 is trying to do is say, oh no, you can't own your own and operate your own pharmacies with the desire to keep prices low, because that hurts these small businesses who have to charge higher prices because they're inefficient.
And for me, I look at it, it feels like a bit of emotional propaganda, because they'll say, man, we've lost 500 independent pharmacies in the state over the past decade. But if you look at Senate Bill 2040, it could lead to more pharmacy closures. And there's no guarantee that any of these independent pharmacies are coming back. So to me, and you tell me if I'm wrong, it feels like Tennesseans could actually be out a whole lot more pharmacies with no pharmacies coming back.
Oh, they're going to lose a lot of pharmacies, and the kind of pharmacies that aren't just pharmacies. I mean, these are stores, you know. I mean, in a lot of communities, if you travel in some rural area sometime, you know, and stay on the lake, the CVS is where you're going to buy your milk, right? I mean, these businesses will be out of business if this were to pass. But the idea that independent pharmacies are shrinking in their counts is false. That's based on some very sketchy research. If you actually look at the data, and if you read the research papers carefully, you'll see that they admit it. But there have been closings, but there are also openings. And on net, there are more independent pharmacies today than there were in 2010 when the data starts. Where you see massive closings is in the bigger chain pharmacies. There have been thousands of those closed. Rite Aid closed thousands of stores.
Yep.
And I think 63 of over 1,000 were kept open. And you'll hear people talk in this and SB 2040 about, oh, we're not closing the pharmacies. We're just destroying their business model. and somebody else will come buy them. Well, I think the Rite Aid experience tells us that somebody else is not going to come buy them, particularly in the current economic environment. Brick and mortar retailing is not something people are investing in right
Yeah, I mean, even where I'm living in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, we got a couple hollowed out Rite Aids that have been sitting there gathering dust. We're talking with Dr. George Ford. He's the chief economist and co-founder of the Phoenix Center for Advanced Legal and Economic Public Policy Study. We're talking about Senate Bill 2040. You've been calling on lawmakers, and you're demanding real economic evidence instead of just listening to the talking points. What's your direct message to the Tennessee legislators about a vote on this?
Well, I mean, the bill says it's supposed to improve affordability of drugs. They bring in their top two experts on healthcare in the state, TennCare, and the state group insurance program. This is, the state employees insurance and Medicaid, Medicare people in the state. They bring these experts in and they say drug costs are going to rise as a consequence of this bill. Now, if you got a bill that says it's about to improve affordability, and your experts come in and say this is going to make drug costs go up, then you don't sign that bill, all right? And you don't vote yes on that bill, and the governor shouldn't sign that bill. You make a bill that actually makes drug costs go down if that's your objective. But that's what there's this thing is just flying through the legislature despite the evidence. And this isn't the PBM saying this. Okay, this isn't George Ford saying this. This is the state's healthcare experts saying that the cost of drugs are going up, and that doesn't mean it's just going up for them. It's going up for everybody.
Yep.
Okay. Well, whoever you get your health insurance from, your drug costs are going to rise. Well, what kind of bill is that? I mean, we're in an affordability crisis right now with healthcare at the top of the list. You got a bill that says it's about affordability, and your experts are telling you that the cost of drugs is going up. Well, why would you vote yes on that?
And on top of all that, there's a convenience factor that could be lost as well when it comes to mail order prescriptions. Can you dive into a little bit about how that could be affected?
Well, yeah, I mean, these mail order pharmacies are often vertically integrated with PBMs. I mean, that's why they exist, is to keep drug costs low and manageable for the PBM, which means usually for the health insurer itself. And if you can't operate a vertically integrated pharmacies, then you cannot buy from those mail order pharmacies. And a lot of people have to do that, or need to do that, or want to do that for convenience or necessity. Older people, for example, don't want to get out and go to the pharmacy, so they get their drugs delivered. If you live in a rural area, it might be half an hour or more to the nearest pharmacy. It's much more convenient to get the mail order products. But this bill basically says that certain mail order pharmacies are no longer allowed to sell pharmaceuticals in the state of Tennessee. That's going to have a huge impact on a lot of people, including veterans.
Dr. George Ford is on with us. If you zoom out and you look at the bigger picture, and the goal is to lower costs and truly lower healthcare costs and get better access, what moves should Tennessee lawmakers be making right now instead of Senate Bill 2040?
I don't know a lot of what Tennessee in particular can do. I mean, the big problem with drug costs, of course, is there's a lot of monopoly power in drugs. And that monopoly power is created through the patent system. And from an economic perspective, there are reasons that we give patents, because it encourages lots of investment in new medicines. So it's not, you can't criticize it specifically for that. I mean, sometimes the behavior is quite egregious, and we've had good examples of that historically. But taking an entity like a PBM, whose job it is to try to get those costs down, and the way it gets those costs down, if you want to look at a really ridiculous argument that's made against PBMs, is that PBMs are large. Well, if you go to a large drug manufacturer, a big pharma firm, and you say, and they want $2,000 a month for a drug, and you say, I'll give you $500, as a PBM says that, and the drug manufacturer says, well, no, I don't want $500. I want $2,000. And the PBM says, okay, then you don't get 100 million customers that I control. Well, now you're in a good bargaining position, right? If PBMs were small, and I say, well, I got 10,000 customers you can't have, then the pharmaceutical manufacturer will laugh at you. So PBMs have to be big to exert enough influence, negotiating influence over big pharma to actually get drug costs down. So you don't want to attack the PBM to get the drug costs down. But I think what's really weird about Tennessee is here we have probably one of the strongest Republican strongholds in the country in terms of legislatures, and they're look at this like regulation is the answer to the problem. I mean, healthcare is the most regulated industry in the country. Okay, we don't need more regulation of healthcare. We need less regulation of healthcare. Regulation has failed. We have the highest healthcare costs in the world, and we don't have great results to show for it. And that's because we regulate everything that happens in healthcare. And now Tennessee wants to add more regulation to distort the efficient organization that's trying to keep drug prices low.
Hey, what could go wrong with more regulation? Dr. George Ford.
Here. Yeah, I mean, what could possibly go wrong?
Exactly. Dr. George Ford, we really appreciate your time. Dr. George Ford is the chief economist and co-founder of the Phoenix Center for Advanced Legal and Economic Public Policy Studies. Where can we keep up with you and learn more about your work?
Phoenix-center.org.
Phoenix.center.org.
Website. All our research is free. I'm continuing to work on this PBM issue. I've got a few papers explaining what they do. Have at it.
Hey, we appreciate you and we appreciate the time. It is 10:53. This is Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand here from my friends at USS, United Structural Systems. If you saw the rain over the weekend and the entire time you were thinking, oh my gosh, this is getting into my crawl space. It's getting into my basement. Ugh. Why haven't you called USS yet? You see, the water may dry up, but every time the rain comes back, so does the problems in the crawl space and in the basement. If you let it go unattended for too long, you're leading down the road to worse issues. You could have mold problems because that water is getting in there, and you don't want your family breathing in that. Even worse, it could lead to wood rot, which leads to foundation issues. Now your waterproofing issue that could have been fixed so quickly and so easily is now a much larger problem. You need to call USS today. These guys have been doing the work since 1994, and they have over 30,000 satisfied customers in Middle Tennessee. They're not going to send a sales guy to your house. They're going to send an expert, and that expert's going to diagnose the problem, and he has no problem telling you if it is quick, easy, and cheap. And if it needs a little bit more planning and teamwork, they can do that as well. USS is the company to call. They're more than a foundation company. They're people who step up. If you've noticed cracks, moisture, or shifting after severe weather, don't wait. Call USS today, 615-488-7855, 615-488-7855, or find them online, USSTN.com. 10:59 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. Ken was supposed to do the tease, but he walked in with a frozen drink and an umbrella in it and a straw hat on. And I said, Ken, you're not on vacation anymore. He said, I'm on vacation every day now, brother Chris. And he kicked his feet up and he just refused to do the tease. Did you see that? It's wild. We'll get there.
Hey, I'm here.
All right. Did you finish your fruity drink with the umbrella in it? Is that what was going on? Was it a brain freeze that hit from the frozen marks?
I don't know what it was, man. For some reason, my mic was muted.
Oh.
Somebody's trying to tell me something.
Mason set you up. Mason has been gunning for your job and Jones' job the entire past week and a half, Ken.
Well, I know Brother Mason was doing a fine job, so I thought maybe I should try to sabotage him from Tulsa.
No, I can't have Ken Weaver coming back and taking away this job opportunity I can get.
On the way, Donald Trump at the Easter egg roll got some questions from the press when it came to Iran. He was asked about the tweet over the weekend. Praise be to Allah. So we'll talk about that and more. Coming up after the headlines with the returning Ken Weaver. It's a champion's return. A hero's welcome for one Ken Weaver in the newsroom on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Eleven o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Drivers, I'm not sure what the issue is in Mount Juliet, but Mount Juliet Road, both directions, is backed up at Central Pike, and it has westbound Central Pike backed up there at South Mount Juliet Road. So keep that in mind if you are out and about. Looking elsewhere, Rivergate got stop-and-go traffic for bridge work, 65 northbound between Vietnam Veterans and Louisville Highway. And, now I see what's going on there in Mount Juliet. That's construction. South Mount Juliet Road, both north and southbound impacted there at Central Pike. Operation Epic Fury. The White House downplaying reports of a draft proposal that would pause the conflict with Iran for 45 days. Meanwhile, reports saying state media there in Iran has rejected a ceasefire proposal. Here's ABC's Karen Travers at the White House on timelines.
That's been a timeline that has shifted significantly over the past 2 weeks. It was a 2-day timeline, 5 days. The president then gave Iran 10 days. Now he is saying they have until tomorrow night, or else he says we're blowing up the whole country. That's what he told our Rachel Scott.
Well, it's a red letter day for Artemis 2. ABC's Jim Ryan says the 4-member crew aboard the Orion capsule will soon be rounding the lunar surface headed into the darkness.
Orion is racing along at 1,200 miles per hour, and the moon is growing larger in the porthole.
Just with our plain eyes, you can really start to see topography.
Artemis pilot Victor Glover says that as Orion gets closer,
That already makes the moon look wildly different.
Glover and his crewmates have been given a list of 30 lunar areas, including craters and basins, to photograph during their closest approach to the moon's dark side. Jim Ryan, ABC News.
Gio Benitez says the spacecraft will get to the far side of the moon for the first time since the 70s and will break the record for the farthest distance from Earth.
During the flyby, NASA says there will be a communications blackout and that astronauts will be laying eyes on parts of the moon that they have never been seen before with human eyes. So that's just incredible. But again, that blackout of 40 minutes is expected.
That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
6 minutes past the hour, Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. You can find me on Twitter, True Social, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, at Chris Hand on Air. Hit the follow button. I will follow back. President Trump at the Easter egg roll a little while ago. They got the kids together. He had to tell the kids about Jesus and also about the greatness of the American military. So, both things important.
God bless America.
He led with Jesus, which is great. But then he also told the kids, did you see how I got Maduro? It was amazing.
He took him down. Best takeout.
He did. He did. I was talking. So Ken's back, by the way, everybody. Let's give Ken a round of applause. He made it back from vacation. After many threats of staying on vacation forever, we were finally able to talk him back into come back to work. So I was saying this earlier. They're doing the Easter egg roll, and I got little kids, and I know you've had little kids.
Yep.
When he starts talking about Iran and Venezuela while standing next to the Easter Bunny, how many dirty looks do you think the children on the lawn got from mom and dad when they weren't paying attention?
Oh, probably several.
There was little Johnny's running towards the fence. Sally's doing a somersault.
Yeah.
Timmy's asking for his own Venezuela. It's like, come on, guys. We can't. We're not. Can we get a Venezuela on the way home? No.
Where's my chocolate bunny?
Yeah. They gave out chocolate Maduros. Everybody said that it was the highlight. It was. They gave out. They gave out little Iranian regimes, but they were missing heads. And Trump said, well, the regime's been decapitated, so this is what we have. He did stop to talk to the press while he was there, and they asked him about the threat of taking out the bridges and the power plants. He said on True Social, if you don't come to the table and make a deal, tomorrow, 8 o'clock Eastern time, it is bridge and power plant day. And he chimed in with a praise be to Allah. The press, not exactly impressed. They wanted to ask the president about it. He answered these questions at the Easter egg roll after his opening statements.
What? We killed Soleimani. Without Soleimani, if they had Soleimani, it would be a whole different thing.
Can we just also talk about how when you're discussing killing Iranian generals like Soleimani, the fact that there's upbeat Easter music in the background creates a hell of a picture.
What a vibe.
It is. It is a unique vibe. They shouldn't do these kinds of things without this music in the background.
Just pop. Always like constant band accompaniment.
It sounds like the Star Wars band.
Yeah.
With like Jabba the Hutt, We killed him.
We killed Soleimani. Without Soleimani, if they had Soleimani, it would be a whole different thing. Maybe. We'd still be winning, but it would have been harder. Because we are obliterating that country. And I hate to do it, but we're obliterating, and they just don't want to say uncle. They don't want to cry, as the expression goes, uncle, but they will. And if they don't, they'll have no bridges, they'll have no power plants, they'll have no anything. I won't go further because there are other things that are worse than those two.
Yeah, the music creates a vibe. It really does.
Only Trump, man.
You think that's a live band, or do you think they have a DJ? It sounds like a live band.
Sounds like
that's
a live
definitely
band.
live.
It would have been better if they were positioned behind him. That's what we needed. That's what the people wanted. We got denied.
And we might have, well, the thing, if I had my choice, what would I like to do? Take the oil. Because it's there for the taking. There's not a thing they can do about it. Unfortunately, the American people would like to see us come home. If it were up to me, I'd take the oil, I'd keep the oil, and would make plenty of money. And I'd also take care of the people of Iran, much better than they've been taken care of. It's been horrible. They've killed 45,000 people as of a month and a half ago. 45,000 protesters.
So that's the president with his house band doing some updates for the press. He said, the American people, unfortunately, don't want to take the oil. I think we just don't want boots on the ground. I think that's what he's alluding to. But he continued on, and he said, remember, and he made this point during his evening address last week. Was it Wednesday night that he did the address? I forget what day it was. But he did the address last week. And he's guys, to put into context, this is not a forever war. We're just getting into month 2. And he makes that point again outside the Easter egg roll.
And CNN came back 100% support. So they support what we're doing, but they would like to see it end and come back. But remember, wars last years. We're in there for 34 days, and we've obliterated a very powerful country in 34 days. Yeah, if it were up to me, I'd like to keep the oil. I just don't think the people of the United States would really understand.
Yeah, I don't think the people of the United States would support a boots-on-the-ground invasion of Iran. He also mentioned the Iranian people, and I do think it's important to point out, while there are a lot of Iranians that don't like their own government, there's a top three in things that you probably don't like in Iran. And then I think they're interchangeable depending on the individual, but it would be, I don't know, the Iranian government, America, and Israel. So even the protesters aren't necessarily pro-United States. But one reporter from, was it PBS? Yeah, it was PBS. Asked, how are you taking care of the Iranian people if you're bombing them? President Trump said, wait, what network are you from?
45-day ceasefire. Do you like that?
How is it taking care of the Iranian people if you're bombing?
Yeah, who you with? Who you with?
PBS.
Well, that's a radical left group of lunatics, if you will. Let me just tell you, very fair question. The Iranian people, when they don't hear bombs go off, they're upset. They want to hear bombs because they want to be free. And the only reason they're not out protesting, you know that, is because they were informed that if they protest, like the wrestler and his friends, if they protest, they will be shot immediately. And that's an edict, that's in writing. If they protest, if they go out in the streets, they will be immediately shot. They don't have guns. You know, we sent some guns, but the group that was supposed to give, which I said would happen to my people, I said it, I called it exactly. We sent guns, a lot of guns. They were supposed to go to the people so they could fight back against these thugs. You know what happened? The people that they sent them to kept them because they said, what a beautiful gun, I think I'll keep it. So I'm very upset with a certain group of people, and they're going to pay a big price for that.
That certain group of people he's talking about was revealed on Fox News over the weekend by Trey Yingst to be the Kurds. Trey Yingst actually had a long segment on Fox News over the weekend after a telephone call with the President of the United States. And Trey Yingst confirmed what the President did not there, that group of people that they had sent firearms to were the Kurds. And the Kurds were supposed to get them into the hands of the Iranian protesters, and the Kurds, well, they just five-finger discounted those firearms.
Now, the president also provided new details on what happened earlier this year as the Iranian regime took to the streets and slaughtered what the president tells me is 45,000 civilians in their own country. After that took place, President Trump told me the United States sent guns to the Iranian protesters. He tells me we sent them a lot of guns. We sent them to the Kurds, and the president says he thinks the Kurds kept them. He went on to say we sent guns to the protesters, a lot of them. And so a number of headlines here from my conversation with President Trump. All of this taking place more than a month into Operation Epic Fury and in the aftermath of that successful U.S. operation overnight to rescue that stranded U.S. service member inside Iranian territory. The president himself ordering that operation after the CIA came on Saturday morning and confirmed that they located where this crew member of an F-15 that was shot down on Friday was located. Again, the president making that decision to send in hundreds of U.S. special forces deep into Iranian territory and successfully retrieving that U.S. service member.
I mean, God bless the president for doing what he did there, and it was an unbelievable rescue, make no mistake about it. But on the gun front, I'm a little disappointed. The United States government never sends me any firearms. I pay a lot of taxes. And for once, I think maybe we should get some guns for free from the government instead of just the Kurds being able to get guns for free from the government. I don't know how we go about making that happen, but I would be open to it.
I mean, I'd take a gun.
Like, why? If we're just going to send them to the Kurds, how about we send them to Tennessee?
Yeah, arm the U.S. first.
Don't we have a Kurd population in Tennessee?
Yeah, we do.
So let's just skip the middleman. We'll say we're sending them to the Kurds, and then you send them to my house, and I'll forget to distribute them to the Kurds.
Accidentally.
It's a very nice gun. I'll just hang on to it.
Allegedly.
I never get guns sent to me by the U.S. government.
Maybe things will change.
It's one of the worst. It's one of the worst things about the government, to be perfectly honest with you. The fact that they don't send me free guns.
Don't send me free guns. I don't have a rocket launcher yet.
No.
Send me that.
I would love one. I'll take a cannon.
July 4th about to be explosive.
It'll be lit. So the kids still saying that?
On the back end, but yeah.
Did they say it low key? I dropped low key.
Say it low key.
I dropped low key in a conversation the other day, and my 12-year-old was like, her head, I thought she was going to get whiplash. She snapped around. She goes, "What did you say?" I said, "What do you mean? I've been saying this low key since before you were born." So, kick rocks. But I'm still.
I love the kick rocks. Just passing.
Kick rocks.
Kick rocks.
Kick rocks. So I was very upset at the 12-year-old. Also very upset at the federal government. Neither of them actually get me firearms. Neither of them do. It's very disappointing.
Makes sense.
Yep. President Trump continued on the White House lawn.
So I'm very upset with a certain group of people, and they're going to pay a big price for that. But the Iranian people will fight back as soon as they know they're not going to be shot and as soon as they can get weapons. If they had weapons, not many of them, if they had weapons that would go in the other way, and you know what would happen? Iran would give up in 2 seconds because they wouldn't be able to take it. But in Iran, they have absolutely no weaponry, and they've been told point blank, if you come out to the streets, you will be killed. As of this morning, and we have this on pretty good information, 45,000 protesters have been killed. Pretty bad.
That is pretty bad. You know what they should do if they don't want to worry, the Kurds with the sticky fingers, the sticky finger Kurds. They should drop it in like they did all the aid to Gaza. Remember when they parachuted those big boxes in? Just find a nice protest happening and then just parachute a box of firearms and C4 in there. I feel like that would be smoother than trusting the Kurds. Just me. I'll take them if they don't like my idea. Let me figure out how to get them in there. I'll probably just keep them. I'd probably keep them. Another reporter said, "Sir, you said that they've been obliterated. Why are we still at war then?" Good question. President Trump wasted no time answering it. This was, again, this morning, right before the big Easter egg roll commenced.
Why are we still at war then? It's a big country. They can't fight back. They have no capability. They have some missiles left. They have some drones left, but essentially they have no capability. They had a lucky shot with an airplane, but we got them back out. The rescue was incredible. And it wasn't of one person. It was of two-person. There are those that say that's never happened before, because usually when you're shot down in strong enemy and deep enemy territory, you can't go after them because you'll end up losing 250 people to get one. So it's a terrible thing. But we had to make a decision. Do we do it or do we not? And we did. And, we have some helicopters with a lot of bullet holes in them right now. Probably you know that. Now, I'm very honored to have rebuilt our military. We rebuilt our military in my first term. I'm using it in our second term. And we are the most respected country anywhere in the world with the greatest military anywhere in the world. Thank you.
So that's President Trump, again, before the Easter egg roll. He started to walk away, and then he also dropped this gem where he said the war could be over very quickly if Iran does the right thing. Again, the music in the background makes the entire ambiance even better.
What's stopping you from ending the war?
Well, it could end very quickly, the war, if they do what they have to do. They have to do certain things. They know that. They've been negotiating, I think, in good faith. We've had total regime change. The people there now are much more reasonable than the lunatics that you had in phase 1 and phase 2. They were lunatics. The people that we're negotiating with now on behalf of Iran are much more reasonable. You can call it what you want, but I call it regime change, and I think most people are giving us credit for that. The first regime was taken out, the second regime was taken out. Now the third group of people that we're dealing with is not as radicalized, and we think they're actually much smarter.
Well, smart enough to not get killed so far. We'll be keeping an eye on this story as it develops. Obviously, this is one of the big talking points for the day. Donald Trump is going to be invading the White House press briefing this afternoon at about noon our time. If it starts any earlier than that, we'll cut into the lightning round and we'll just start covering it live for you because I do think it's a massive deal. The deadline has been set Tuesday, 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 o'clock our time. If Iran doesn't come to the table, it is Bridge and Power Plant Day. Expect a lot of excited questions from a rabid press corps this afternoon. We'll be following it live right here on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand. Did the Easter Bunny bring you a safe? Me either. I know. Very disappointed. But I got a place for you to go where the Easter Bunny can't let you down. It's Parker Safes and Vaults in Shelbyville. You've heard me talking about these guys. There are veteran-owned, family-run safe and vault door business right here in Middle Tennessee. Let's be honest, a lot of us want a safe, but we have been putting it off because we have to figure out which one to buy, where to put it, and how to get it installed. Well, this is exactly what Aaron and his sons take care of. They help you choose the best safe for your needs and your budget. They offer advice on the best place to put it. They'll deliver it, and they'll carefully install it. Now, Aaron just told me that they have a ton of great deals and plenty of safes in stock and ready to go. These aren't your average big box store cabinets and filing cabinets. These are legit safes from quality brands like American Security, Rhino, Liberty, Heyman, and more. Don't put it off any longer. Find out what safe is right for you. There's a video review of every safe they have in stock on their YouTube page. You search Parker Safes on YouTube, or you can just call Aaron and have a conversation. 931-842-6445. You'll be glad you did. Parker Safes and Vaults. Mention my name when you buy your safe, and you're going to get a free pistol safe while supplies last. Parker Safes and Vaults. Always online, parkersafes.com.
All right, drivers, we got a lot of construction in the way. We've got the right lane blocked 24 westbound through Jolton. And then in Rivergate, stop-and-go traffic, 65 northbound between Vietnam Veterans and Louisville Highway. And in Mount Juliet, construction work, South Mount Juliet Road, both directions there at Central Pike. President Trump will speak to anyone, anytime, about anything. We'll let you hear what he said during the White House Easter egg roll coming up at 11:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
That's Ken Weaver in the newsroom. My name is Chris Hand. The show is brought to you by our friends at Better Water LLC. You can watch the show, Super Talk TV, on YouTube and Rumble. We have a text line that you're welcome to send your comments into, 615-737-9986. It's not just me that wants free firearms from the U.S. federal government after we detailed what happened with those sticky finger Kurds. We have a lot of individuals. 6902 said, I will gladly take a belt-fed 50 cal. 6081 said, just go ahead and put me in for a PKP. All right. Rooster said, Chris, I reckon Trump had never heard the famous saying, Kurds are turds. Oh, that's a nasty one. We don't say that here. We judge each individual Kurd by the content of their character. The ones that got the firearms, they just decided to keep them. So we judge them a bit more harshly. I would love free guns from the government, personally. I think we deserve it. I think that before you give out guns to other countries, we should focus on the lack of guns here at home. I think that makes sense. I think people would tend to agree with me. On the way, we do have the lightning round. I got some good stories in the lightning round today. Are you ready for that?
I don't know.
I'm ready. Did you see before we get to the lightning round, did you see what President Trump, I know he was posting a lot over the weekend, a lot of Easter messages, a lot of praise be to Allah. But did you see the one that he posted where it's California and there's a homeless woman?
What is that?
There's a homeless woman and she has a fire hydrant wrench and she's opening up the fire hydrant to wash her clothes. This is California. This is in Los Angeles, the city that's going to be hosting the Olympics in 2028. Now the fire hydrants. Listen, I think there's a silver lining here. If you're watching on Super Talk TV, the fire hydrants have water in them, which is a huge upgrade for California. But you have the homeless washing their clothes in the fire hydrants. California is an absolute failure. They probably should lose the Olympics, if we're being perfectly honest. But they'll clean it up. They'll get it looking good before the big ceremonies. 15 months later, though, after the wildfires in the Palisades, the water's back in the hydrants, which is good. But do you know how many homes they've rebuilt? They lost over 2,000 homes, close to 3,000 homes in the fires. 15 months later, they've built a grand total of 30 homes. Yep, 30.
Fire hydrant.
Oh, hang on one second. I got too many pieces of audio running in the background. This is CNN discussing how many homes have been built after the wildfire disasters in California.
It has been more than a year since fires destroyed entire neighborhoods across the Los Angeles area. By CNN's count, at least 16,000 structures in LA County, 16,000 homes, businesses, other buildings were destroyed or damaged in January 2025 because of the fires. 15 months later, LA County's permitting progress dashboard reports about 2,000 building permits have been issued. Just over 1,000 homes are currently under constructed. How many have been completed of the 16,000? 30.
30. Even Fake Tapper is not impressed with the numbers. This is what happens when you have big government getting in the way of you every step of the way. You lose thousands of homes, thousands of businesses. We're now over a year since the wildfires. 30 have been rebuilt. 30. Who on earth would want to live in California? They have ruined that state. It was one of the most, it is one of the most beautiful states in the entire union. And it's unlivable. It is completely unlivable. Even if you want to fight for California, you want to be there tooth and nail, you're not going to give up on the state of California, which I know conservatives that live in California, and they feel that way. Then you run into something like this. It's like they're essentially asking people to leave. Crazy. Lightning round on the way. It's 11:30. This is Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Full forecast coming up in 5 minutes. Today at the White House. Military band and children for the annual White House Easter egg roll. President Trump took questions from the media says negotiations with Iran going well, but still not a fan of them rejecting a U.S. drafted plan for their own.
Made a proposal, and it's a significant proposal. It's a significant step. It's not good enough, but it's a very significant step.
Israeli military, meanwhile, says it attacked 3 airports in the Tehran area in a large-scale wave of strikes aimed at degrading the Iranian Air Force. Another special message to the crew of Artemis 2 this morning. This one from Apollo 8 astronaut Jim Lovell, who was the command module pilot for Apollo 8 and commander of Apollo 13. Both missions circled the moon.
Hello, Artemis 2. This is Apollo astronaut Jim Lovell. Welcome to my old neighborhood.
He recorded the message in 2025 before passing away August 7th, 2025. Happy Easter. The gas is free. Here's ABC's Wayne Cabot.
Cars stretched for blocks this Easter weekend in at least 2 cities where churches gave away gasoline to ease the strain of rising gas prices. A driver in Minneapolis-St. Paul who filled up his tank with $30 of free gas called it a blessing. 2 South Florida churches did the same thing to support the community during these tough financial times. Wayne Cabot, ABC News.
You got churches here in Tennessee stepping up. A major free gas event wrapped up in Knoxville, hosted by the Overcoming Believers Church. Hundreds of drivers said to have received about $20 in fuel during that Easter weekend giveaway. Meanwhile, here in Middle Tennessee, Gas Buddy puts the average price per gallon at $3.84. That's 85 cents higher since last month. That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand for my friends at Zero Res Nashville. Do you have a smushed jelly bean in your carpet today? How about that chocolate bunny that's not even that good, but you had to get it anyway, and now it's melted into the carpet? You might be thinking to yourself, well, we'll just throw out the carpet. Let's get rid of it, and we'll get a new one. Don't do that yet. You can call my friends at Zero Res Nashville. I have a feeling that they're going to be able to save your carpet, and it's going to cost you a heck of a lot less. Trust me, I use Zero Res all the time. I got 4 kids. I got 2 dogs. It's baseball season currently, which that means the house is a combination of red dirt, grass stains, whatever the dogs tracked in, plus all the Easter shenanigans as well. So when we deal with that, we call Zero Res. And I'll tell you what, if it's right in line with the Maha movement, they clean carpets without harsh chemicals, no soap residue, just their ZR water system. And it actually gets everything out. Our carpets look insanely clean. They dry faster, and honestly, they stay clean longer, which matters when you have 4 kids running in and out of the house all day long. All day. Even when I say, please, pick one, inside or outside, they're still running. Right now is the perfect time to clean your carpets. It's springtime. You're going to get the flu and the cold germs out of the house. You're going to have that reset feeling, and it's going to be awesome. 615-535-9376. That's the number for Zero Res. They're running 2- and 3-room specials right now. 615-535-9376. ZeroResNashville.com. 37 minutes past the hour on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. Show's brought to you by our friends at Better Water LLC, water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. I'm just reading some of these texts. People are still asking for free weapons from the U.S. federal government. Our friend Alan texted and he said, I'll take the fully automatic belt-fed MK-19 40-millimeter grenade launcher. That'd be dope. Why doesn't the government ever send me a grenade launcher? I need one for personal protection.
Yeah, I'm launching eggs for Easter, bro.
Yeah.
I want an Abrams tank.
I don't know why we shouldn't be getting these things.
Easier commute on 24.
It would be sick.
Yeah, it would. Everybody get out of the way.
They always give weapons to everybody but us. Sticky-fingered Kurds.
An Abrams tank with a holder for my flamethrower.
Yeah.
That's what I want.
I promise to give it to protesters. Is that what you should? Is that what we need to say? It's not even for me. It's for the protesters. Oh, all right, right away, sir. Why didn't you tell me sooner?
They'll have it saran wrapped on a giant pallet for you, waiting the next morning.
Fingers crossed. If you leave out ammo on the doorstep, the military-industrial complex ferry will drop off a tank. I've heard. Hey, all right, enough about that. You know what time it is? I got a good one for the first story too. It's time for the lightning round.
It's the lightning round with Chris Hand.
We do it every day at this time. All the stories that wouldn't fill a whole segment, stories that we ran out of time to talk about, and just general randomness that we find fascinating. We like to call it the lightning round. Oh, where's the lightning? There was no lightning when I said lightning round. There it is.
Sometimes I just get lost in the music.
Nelson said, sorry, we're back on the free weapons from the federal government.
Yeah.
Trump tried to get weapons to the protesters in Iran, but he gave them to the Kurds, and so they got lifted, you know? Nelson texted and he goes, maybe you should enlist. They'll give you one. That's the whole point. I want to do this without enlisting.
I don't like the workouts.
0473 texted and said, I won't be greedy. Just an MK-48 silenced. Thank you. That's it. We're not asking for the world here. Just something fully auto.
Just something with a little kick.
Yeah. You know? Or no kick at all. That's fine too. I just wanted to be free.
That flamethrower will come in handy for barbecues.
Dude, that's what I'm saying. All right, first story in the lightning round. Raise your hand. Just a show of hands. Raise your hand if you know the rapper Gucci Mane. You familiar with Gucci?
I know who you're talking about.
It's Gucci Mane. Everybody know Gucci Mane. Gucci Mane. He's a topic of conversation today. Because he was robbed and kidnapped.
I'm Ryan Rabel, I'm the U.S. Attorney for the Northern District of Texas. Thank you for coming. This week, 9 individuals, including well-known musical artists, kidnapped and robbed at gunpoint numerous victims at a music studio in Dallas, Texas. 8 of the 9 were arrested yesterday in Dallas, Memphis, and Nashville. These individuals who are charged and arrested include Lontrell Williams Jr., also known as Pooh Shiesty, Lontrell Williams Sr., Rodney Wright Jr., also known as Big 30, Kadarius Waters, Demarion Gibson, DeMarcus Glover, Corday Johnson, Darian McDaniel, and Terrence Rogers has not been arrested yet, but will be soon. The complaint alleges that on January 10th of this year, 3 music industry professionals traveled to Dallas for a scheduled business meeting. Lontrell Williams Jr. arranged this meeting purportedly to discuss the terms of his recording contract with one of the victims. As alleged, once these 3 men were inside the recording studio, Williams Jr. and 8 co-conspirators, several of whom traveled from Memphis, Tennessee, executed a coordinated armed takeover. As alleged, Williams Jr. produced an AK-style pistol and forced one of the victims to sign a release from the recording contract at gunpoint.
Sign me up for AK-style pistol of free firearms I want from the government, too. I don't know what it is, but I like it. I like the sound of it. So here's the deal. Gucci Mane, real name Roderick Davis, was allegedly robbed and then kidnapped by rappers Pooh Shiesty and Big 30 in Dallas.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. Come on, Pooh. Don't do me like that, Pooh.
What you doing?
Pooh. That was quoted as being said on the scene. According to the U.S. Department of Justice, 9 people, including the aforementioned rappers, kidnapped and robbed at gunpoint numerous victims at a music studio in Dallas. 8 of the 9 suspects were arrested on last Wednesday, according to the DOJ, in Dallas, Memphis, and Nashville. This is local. This is local. I don't know, man. They went in there. Pooh needed to get out of his contract, is what they said. So the only amicable way to do it in the hip hop world is via gunpoint, and also stealing Rolexes and chains. And the word was that they stole these Rolexes and chains, and they were already stunting on the gram, as the kids like to say. They were posting pictures with the jewelry on Instagram. That's Ken. They were stunting on the gram. The DOJ said a complaint on January 10th. 3 music industry professionals traveled to Dallas for the meeting. Pooh Shiesty arranged the meeting to discuss the terms of his recording contract with one of the victims, Gucci Mane, 1017 Brick Squad, the label that he runs. And when the 3 men were in the studio, Williams Jr., Pooh Shiesty, and his 8 co-conspirators, several of whom traveled from Memphis, executed an armed takeover, according to the DOJ. They pointed guns, they robbed the guys, and they made Gucci Mane sign a contract releasing him from sign a document releasing him from the contract. Congrats, you'll be free of your contract, but you'll be rewarded with 3 hots in a cot.
Yeah, man. I don't know if that's a good trade.
Like, yeah, what is the? Is it worse to be in prison or to be in a bad record deal? You tell me. To his credit, Gucci Mane, Gucci posted a selfie video, and I can't play it because of the profanity, but I'll give you the Cliff Notes version. It was, "Screw the feds, I'm not working with them," and Pooh Shiesty's going to get his. So Pooh Shiesty, he might actually be looking forward to 3 hots in a cot. It might be safer.
It might be, man.
It might be safer. As outlined in the complaint, some of the evidence establishing the defendant's roles in the federal offenses includes, get ready for this, electronic monitoring data, placing Williams Jr. at the offense location in violation of his home detention conditions. He was wearing an ankle bracelet. I don't know who needs to hear this. Committing crimes with the ankle bracelet on doesn't really protect the alibi.
No.
They also had cell phone records and license plate reader data corroborating the coordinated travel of multiple defendants from Memphis to Dallas. It must have been a long car ride. Rental car records confirming Williams Sr., the dad of Pooh Shiesty, rented a vehicle used by the group. Surveillance footage from the offense location, a nearby office supply store, and a hotel where several defendants stayed following the offense. They have fingerprints recovered from the crime scene matching 2 defendants, and social media posts by the defendants displaying what appears to be the stolen property in the days following the offense, plus Greyhound bus records confirming the travel of multiple defendants from Dallas to Memphis the day after the offense. If convicted, each defendant faces a sentence of up to life in prison.
Yeah, I think I'd have just hung with the contract.
I would have hung with, yeah, a bad record deal beats that every day of the week. But we'll keep you updated on that story. Got another one for you here in the lightning round. Okay, I mean, I wouldn't say that was good or bad in the timing of when I said lightning to
that wasn't bad. Back off.
I didn't say. I said I wasn't going to say it was bad.
You implied.
I wasn't going to say it was good.
Implication was there.
It was a little delayed. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's fair. I'm sorry.
This story in the lightning round it's a little shocking. Not as shocking.
A little shocking, like.
Was that a lightning pun? No lightning pun intended. Not as shocking as Pooh Shiesty robbing Gucci Mane. I don't want to set your hopes up. But pretty shocking, and still in the hip hop world. You ready for this?
Hit me.
Charlemagne from the Breakfast Club rains praise over ICE agents. Yes, he does. Yes, he does.
Flew out of LaGuardia Friday. I ain't see no TSA agents. ICE was doing everything. I mean, they were great, to be honest with you. Like, to be honest, I mean, like they were. And that for that particular terminal, I was flying out of LaGuardia. I forgot what terminal it was, but yeah, they were being extra nice, like Chick-fil-A workers. I was saying to myself, I'm like, there's no way in hell this is the same ICE agents that was on the streets of places like Minnesota with the mask on.
No, same ICE agents, actually. It's a lot easier to be nice to people when you're not, being harassed and followed around and screamed at or, trying to be hit by cars. It's a lot more of an amicable situation. Same ICE agents. The praise was there from Charlemagne of the Breakfast Club. That might not sound like a crazy statement to you, But make no mistake about it, it is, because that is one of the largest, most syndicated hip-hop morning shows in the entire country. Millions of listeners, and these guys are as left as they come. And for him to go on the air and say, ICE agents were awesome, that's a big statement. It is. There's a lot of ICE agents in these airports. There's a lot more TSA coming back. President Trump had signed that executive order to get them paid. Over the weekend, we found out that Trump has ordered all DHS workers to be paid despite the Democrat shutdown.
Directing Homeland Security to pay all of its workers. That move coming as the partial shutdown nears the 2-month mark. Of course, it's led by the Democrats in Congress. As you know, Congress also left for a 2-week recess, if you can imagine. The memo demanding DHS, quote, use funds that have a reasonable and logical nexus to the functions of DHS. More than 500 TSA agents quit after going weeks without pay, fueling long lines at many major airports across the country. They're now being paid thanks to a separate order signed by President Trump.
And kudos to President Trump for doing that. Let's be perfectly honest. These men and women deserve to be paid. We can argue about whether or not we want agencies like the TSA in the federal government. Should they be privatized a different day? Right now, these guys need their checks. And DHS needs to get paid. The Coast Guard needs to get paid. FEMA needs to get paid. But we're forced to have Donald Trump continue to do it instead of Congress getting the job done. Senator Mike Lee over the weekend said we can't keep sitting back and relying on President Trump to save us from ourselves.
In terms of the issue of protecting our voting and citizenship, President Trump seems to be doing a lot of the work of Congress these days on DHS funding, and now with an executive order, it didn't get much coverage, should have. The executive order will require the administration to create a list of confirmed U.S. citizens who are eligible to vote in each state. It seems like that's at least mild progress. President Trump wanting that action. Your thoughts?
Yeah, first of all, it's fantastic. Anytime we can get more people in the U.S. government trying to make it easy to vote and hard to cheat, that's a good thing. And I applaud President Trump for doing that. We do have to remember, though, Kaylee, we have to make the laws. When we can't rely always on the fact that we've got a president of the United States who is deeply concerned about the country, we've got to be equally concerned. We've got to be doing this on our own. I wonder how long it'll be before Judge Boasberg or some other judge cosplaying as president tries to knock that order down. It's one of the many reasons why we've got to put it in legislation.
Yeah, and the same goes for all of the executive orders that President Trump has been signing. It seems like Donald Trump has been doing a lot of this on his own without the help of Congress, and that needs to change. It just absolutely does. The mail-in voting that he was talking about leads us to another story here in the lightning round. Oh, man. Of course. I give the guy a little grief.
Listen,
and now he's going to intentionally delay the lightning.
Can I not mess with you anymore? Is that not allowed?
Very upset. I don't get free guns from the government, and I don't get lightning when it's supposed to be here. That was better.
Was it better?
I feel a little bit better.
Give me a break.
I will.
Thank you.
Why are you concerned about mail-in voting? All right, we have the most secure elections in history.
Some Green Bay absentee voters are concerned after being mailed double ballots.
Oh, weird. That would concern me. Would that concern you?
Just a little bit.
I would vote even harder. So I'm voting. I'm canceling out my own votes. I'm not going to let an illegal alien do it.
What?
I'm not going to let them take my job.
No.
I'll cancel out my own vote. I have 2 mail-in ballots here.
Consider yourself canceled.
Yeah. So this is a crazy story out of Green Bay, Wisconsin. A lot of people got 2 sets of ballots.
This includes Green Bay resident David Baumgart, who votes absentee while living in Florida for the winter. He received the duplicate ballot just days after mailing back the original.
And at first I thought, oh, did they, get my ballot back and there was a problem? But, no explanation or anything. It was just obviously a second ballot. So obviously I didn't send it in because I had already voted.
Obviously, I just voted twice. Obviously, I voted for the Republican. Twice.
Baumgart wasn't the only one to get 2 absentee ballots. A total of 152 Green Bay absentee voters received an additional one for the spring election, according to City Clerk Celestine Jeffries.
We sent letters to them already saying that if you've gotten 2 ballots,
don't vote them both. Only vote one and destroy the other one at your home. We did get some phone calls, which is how we found out that we did that.
Jeffries says absentee ballots were sent out around the same time that Blizzard Elsa came through the area. Because of this, City Hall was closed an extra day, meaning the clerk's office had to work quickly to get ballots out on time. Jeffries says mailing labels were printed twice, and ballots were sent out before anyone noticed the mistake.
Don't worry, though. Mail-in ballots are totally secure. And the executive order from President Trump to make them more secure, total overreach. And hopefully a judge that was appointed by either Biden or Obama or Clinton will get in there and remedy that soon, right? Right. It's 11:53. This is Super Talk 99.7 WTN. 58 minutes past the hour on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. The show is brought to you by Better Water LLC, water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. Mason Fleming's producing. Ken Weaver's in the newsroom. Chad Benson's in studio. And I don't know what people are more mad at me about. The fact that I did the Gucci Mane story at all. Or that I had the nerve to accuse the Kurds of having sticky fingers.
They may have had some sticky fingers.
That's what I'm saying.
It happens.
But people be texting right now.
People be texting. You know how they be doing?
I had one guy who I think he's a Kurd. Because this is what he said. Hey, Chris, tried to call you guys, but apparently you guys doesn't want to answer the phone. I was trying to ask you. What do you know about Kurd? I'm pretty sure you don't know anything about it. Period. Kurd.
Man, let me tell you something. Chris been curding all day.
I've been. Listen,
You're big curding.
I love all types of Kurds.
And the ways.
Yeah.
Kurds and the ways.
All days.
All days, big Kurds. That's what I'm talking about.
I just want some free guns from the government.
We tend to give a lot of guns away. We have a lot of scandals with guns. Our government, biggest gun dealer on the planet, United States government. Not even close.
That's why I always think it's funny when they try to take guns away. I'm like, have you seen our government?
Yeah.
I don't trust them. They wouldn't pass it back.
No way.
So,
none of them would.
And Gucci Mane got robbed.
Happens.
Did you hear what his statement was? I cleaned it up for the radio. But it was essentially, I'm not working with the feds, and I'm going to kill Pooh Shiesty.
Well, sometimes you have to go after the Pooh Shiesty.
People don't think it'd be like it is, but it do. Chad's in next. It's 12 o'clock. This is Super Talk 99.7 WTN.